Simon Barrett and Adam Wingard have been cinematic partners for years now and are responsible for such cool horror films as You're Next, The Guest, A Horrible Way to Die, VHS 1 and 2, and Blair Witch. While I don't know if they've officially announced their breakup, the two filmmakers seem to have gone their separate ways, with Wingard moving on to big-budget blockbusters like Kong vs. Godzilla and the upcoming Thundercats adaptation, and Barrett is sticking to his horror roots and taking on both the writing and directing reins on his new film, SÉANCE. That's what we're going to look at today. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights YouTube page and give it a like. Please share with all of your buddies. Click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. SÉANCE is new in select theaters, on demand and digital download from RLJE Films and Shudder. It's directed and written by Simon Barrett. The Bad Batch's Sookie Waterhouse plays Camille, a new student at the Fairfield Academy, an esteemed boarding school for well-to-do but sometimes rambunctious girls. Camille is filling the opening left when a student committed suicide by jumping out of her window. Upon arrival, Camille runs afoul of a group of the bad girls of the school, leading to a fight on her first day and the whole crew to detention. This is where the titular séance occurs, as the gals reawaken a restless spirit and then start disappearing one by one. Is the school haunted by a vengeful ghost, or is there someone else knocking off the students one by one? SÉANCE is a supernatural slasher mashup reminiscent most of the original The Craft, along with plenty of other boarding school horrors like the recent Boarding School, The Moth Diaries, The Woods, and The Blackcoat's Daughter, and classics such as Suspiria, Phenomena, The Dorm That Dripped Blood, and of course Black Christmas, to name a few. Barrett is an above homage and nods to other films, as seen in quite a few of his previous films. Throughout SÉANCE, he treads along very familiar pathways, with gals sporting unkempt Catholic schoolgirl outfits, playing mean girl games, flirting with lesbianism, and rebelling against the stern establishment, represented by a headmistress with her hair pulled back into a bun tighter than the lips of her frowning face. Though the cliches are abundant, Barrett juggles the supernatural chills with more tactile slasher thrills along with these cliches to keep you guessing just what kind of horror film this is all the way through. Barrett is a capable director, and he's not above a jump scare or two, but he's proficient in setting up some subtle and unnerving scenes as the gals start dropping like thin and pretty little flies. There is an especially good scene that takes place in the shower that might not be the most original, but still delivers the scary goods. I felt about 2/3 of SÉANCE was a compelling watch, building an interesting mystery and highlighting a few young female actors that will most likely be names in the near future. Sookie Waterhouse definitely has the looks. She's a stunner, and while she needs to work on emoting a bit, she kind of has that 1,000-yard stare one often associates with models and strippers. She carries the film nicely as a strong lead and is especially fierce in the final reel. Another standout is the Clovehitch Killer's Madison Beatty as one of the smarter gals associated with the mean girl pack. Beatty is another good-looking gal, but has a Barbara Gordon Batgirl kind of quality with her bright red hair, slight build, and intelligent demeanor. I said I liked 2/3 of SÉANCE, and by that I mean it kind of feels like the whole film skids straight off the rails by the end. While mysteries are tough to pull off, because the big reveal often requires some kind of expository vomit session by the baddie to the bound hero, one would think a cinephile like Barrett might not fall into that tired trap. Well, one would be wrong. Not only do we get a Scooby-Doo unmasking close to the end, but one of the more complicated explanations along with it. Now, some might say that Barrett is pulling another one of his homages, but with a film that's riddled with such cliches, you at least should try to make your finale count as something original. Why make a movie if it's all homage? It feels as if that late in the game, Barrett kind of knew he needed to spice the end up, because a film that up to that point had been a subtle and suspenseful little mystery with little bloodletting morphs jarringly into a splatterfest with beheadings, throat slashings, and all-out fights to the death. Now, I love that stuff, but it's also uneven here, as if Barrett realized this film was way too subtle and did a last-minute battle royale to save himself some horror cred. And after that, we get yet another character spouting expository chunder to make sure all of the mystery is explained to the very cheapest of seats. Barrett has turned out some extremely twisted and memorable horror films in the past. I don't know what happened with Séance, but it really feels like a misstep that could have ended in a much more nuanced way, avoiding the exposition-laden dumps and working these revelations within the scenes in a more dramatic fashion. Séance shows that Barrett has potential. It's not all bad. It had me up until the hour and 10 mark, but it turned out to be a film that ended up feeling uneven, leaving me with a resounding what the hell rather than the gasp I think Barrett was going for. That'll be it for today. Please chime in down below in the comments and let me know how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own review. So guys, you know how YouTube works. I'd love to be able to dedicate more time to this channel. I'm not monetized yet, so if you want to help me out, remember to hit all the pertinent bells and whistles down below. Want some spooky comics to read? I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look out for. Both Gravetrancers and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, can be found in only the finest of comic book shops. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on my website, mlmillerwrites.com. If you really want to show your support, I also have a Patreon page at mlmiller. Look for the link to my Patreon page down below. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're